Enough is enough. That's the message from the Save the Children's Violence Unwrapped campaign, which uses art as an agent of engagement and social change. The exhibition features a giant egg wrapped in bandages that contains messages, facts and stories about violence against children. Constitutional Hill has a remarkable history. During apartheid, it was used as a prison for political activists that stood up against the regime. Today, it is a popular venue that hosts events and art exhibitions. But this is not an art exhibition. It's the opportunity for Save the Children to unpack poignant statements made by children themselves who were victims of violence and to raise the awareness of the costs of violence against children.
You know, the shocking thing about South Africa is that we're probably one of the most violent countries. This study that was done was also done in South Asia, I think. And the numbers are less. The cost is much less than what it is in South Africa.
Incidents of violence have been further categorized in the report to highlight how children are abused in various ways.
So the different types of violence we looked at was childhood physical abuse, childhood sexual abuse, childhood emotional abuse, and the fourth one, which is very important, is neglect. Neglect is often hidden. Neglect is not meeting the children's basic needs, and that's actually seen as a form of violence because it means caregivers who are responsible in protecting children are not engaged in this child's livelihood and well-being. So we looked at these were the four main types of violence, and this is what data was available on. I can give you some statistics. For example, the statistics were based on the Optimist Study Foundation, which was released earlier this year. So we were really, really lucky that the first sets of nationally representative prevalence data on how much violence do we see in the country of violence against children was actually released this year. This is the first one. So what they found was in South Africa, the prevalence of sexual violence is around 7%. The prevalence of childhood physical violence is around 26%, 13% for emotional violence, and for neglect, it's actually 12% on average.
It all comes down eventually to rands and cents.
It's a powerful message because it is the cost of inaction, meaning this is what it cost our society because we did not intervene and prevent children from experiencing violence. As a result of experiences of abuse and violence when individuals were children, they were not able to reach their full potential. They were not able to become contributing members of society. Due to, for example, school dropouts, they were not able, I'll give you one example that contributed towards this cost is an individual who experienced physical violence as a child earns on average 11.7% less a month in their monthly income than an individual who did not experience physical violence. Nice. Another example is an individual who experienced emotional violence as a child earns 9.2% less than an individual who did not. Emotional violence is very much verbal violence. I wish a parent telling a child, when you were a child, experiencing a parent saying, I wish you were never born, I wish you died, I hate you. Experiencing that means that years later, when you do earn an income, you earn 9.2% less. When you add all of this up, this is the human capital of our society. Children who experience all of this are at risk of a host of negative outcomes, and as a result, it's a cost to our economy. It has an impact on our economy. And so that's really the important message here. This is money that we've lost because we did not protect children from experiencing violence.
Nashina Mohammed for Joburg Today.